If you don't love Neil from Skeleton Crew yet, I think you might be doing Star Wars wrong. Episode 4 was kind of a love fest for Neil and actually really brought out his real leadership potential. Jod and the kids are now thinking they're on At-Aten, but it turns out to be Ad-Akron, a different one of the protected planets that, no longer protected, has actually fallen into ruin and is being run by warring factions. We discover by the end that in fact there are a number of planets, and all of their locations are contained in what they're calling the Fallen Sanctum. The world is identical to At-Aten. It's just been ruined. So they know that the location is the same as where the supervisor dwells on At-Aten, a place where apparently no one would have been allowed to go. We don't get any hints as to what the great work is or what the supervisor would have been doing. But we do learn, thanks to Fern's cleverness, that Smee, or SM-33, is in fact repressing a memory deliberately that he was commanded not to share with anyone about At-Aten when his previous captain told him to remove that memory. He also nearly kills the children after they try to extract that information. Tells them he will tear them limb from limb. Well, I'm here to tell you I have the solution, and it's very simple. I can't believe Jod didn't already think of this and suggest it, but the children, they have an excuse being children. Since they had the locations of several other planets right there in the room, they could simply go back to their starship and travel to one of those other planets. They need to copy down the coordinates for each of them so they can go from one to the next, looking for additional clues, and perhaps one of them in its copy of the Fallen Sanctum or the Supervisor's Tower would have the location of At-Aten. It's just a question of whether the pirates, the old captain, got to all of the other planets to hide At-Aten's location. It makes one think that maybe he did, simply because that one was scratched out, and ultimately the spaceship was found on At-Aten, so maybe that was the last stop, and that's why it was buried there. Who knows for how long or what happened to the original captain, but I would start by going to those other locations. Make sense? And I predict they'll finally come to that conclusion and begin doing that in Episode 5. Did you love Episode 4 as much as I did? Are you really digging Skeleton Crew? How about that abandoned playground at the beginning? Man, that had straight out of the 80s vibes, like a horror movie, except those were straight up normal playground equipment. There was nothing spacey or Star Wars about it, but I'm okay with that. And I loved Neil's story about his little brother jumping on his head and beating him even though he's half his size. Man, I love that guy. Please subscribe for more Skeleton Crew, Star Wars, and Disney Plus content. Thanks for listening.